everyone, and welcome to Meow Mix, the Carolina Panthers podcast. My name is Steven,
My name is Jerry.
and we are here to talk about draft profilees. We're
Forget
going to
what
do
we
a
were doing
draft
there.
profile and a profilee. Yeah, I lost my words.
I was gonna say it's not even really late at night or anything. I mean, we're doing this
No,
one kind
no,
of.
completely. Yeah, I'm at my peak right now, Jerry. Um, yeah, we're going to be talking about James Pearce Jr. James Pearce
James.
Jr. Today, we're focusing on edge rushers right now. I feel like.
Yeah, we are,
I,
and I feel like there's a lot of edge rushers, and we're definitely gonna get into T Mac. We're gonna get into Will Johnson. There's a
mhm,
few more guys, Mason Graham. We're gonna get on those. I
yeah,
just wanted to, me personally, I kind of wanted to see the edge rushers a little bit more, just because I wanted to see which one I liked a lot, or a lot more than the rest.
yeah.
And yeah, it's very interesting. I'll put it that way. I see how mocks are like, oh, one of us has Pearce, one of us has Mike Green, another one has Jalen Walker. And
They're
so
kind of
on.
all over the place, right?
Yeah,
Like, yeah, it's pretty weird, but it's certainly a position the Panthers need, and that's kind of why we're focused on it at least early on in this draft profile process. Who knows what might happen between now and the draft? They could end up trading or signing a starting edge, and all of a sudden it's not
Eh,
that important.
I
But
mean, I mean,
right,
Joey Bosa was released today, so I mean,
true, true.
you never know where that's gonna go.
Joey Bosa as a Carolina Panther, I just don't know. I don't know if I see it. I don't know if I see it, but we'll see. But yeah, today we're going to talk about James Pearce Jr. Jerry, tell us a little bit about the young man.
James Pearce Jr. is a 6'5", 243-pound edge rusher from Tennessee. He enters the 2025 NFL Draft as a top prospect after a dominant collegiate career. The Charlotte native recorded 19 and a half sacks, tied 10th in Vols history, and 29 and a half tackles for loss over 3 seasons, earning first-team All-SEC honors in 2023 and 2024. Known for its explosive 4.47 40-yard dash and relentless motor, Pearce added a pick six in 2024. Uh, he's a beast.
He's a big dude. He's got the size you want, right? He's got the size speed combination.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of looking at his stats real quick. You kind of gave his overall stats, but just looking at the last couple of years here, 2023 he had 9.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, and I got him at 27 combined tackles. And last year, a little lower on the stats side, 7.5 sacks, but 38 total tackles. My understanding is that he was focused on a lot more by offensive line play last year than the previous year. So they kind of doubled him a bit, tried to stop him, still ended up with 7.5 sacks, still got all SEC honors. So, I mean, he's a really good player.
He really is. Overall, I mean, he really is. I that's all I could say is he's. There's a reason why we're discussing him at number 8.
Yeah.
Um,
We talked about Michael Williams last draft profile, and this is another guy that just has a really good run defense grade from PFF. Um, but his pass rush rate grade and his pass rush win rate are much higher than what we saw with Michael Williams. Just as comparison
oh
to
yeah,
to those two guys.
I was gonna say his pass rush is way better than Michael Williams
Yeah.
right now. It's not really that close in my opinion when I watched the two on tape.
They're very different rushers, right? Because
Yeah.
Michael Williams is more of a power rusher, and Pearce is more of a speed rusher.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean that's you got it 100. I can't speak either. Wow, are we sure we're not recording this at like 2 in the morning?
We're in our prime.
Yeah, you're 100% right though.
Yeah.
He is a speed rusher. He also has tools to be a power rusher. I mean, again, 6'5", 245. You can push some guys around. He's not a small guy by any means.
Right.
but yeah, he just beats you with speed a lot more. He does a nice rip move. So let's go ahead and look at some of his cons. We're glowingly talking about his frame and stuff. So
Hmm.
he does need to, as much as he is strong, he does need to work on getting a little bit stronger and working on his power techniques. Like you said, he's a speed rusher guy. So if he
Yeah.
could add some power moves to his stable, it'll definitely help him grow into the NFL.
Yeah, for sure. That's from what I've been reading and watching about him, that's kind of his major uh on the field flaw that I've seen, right? It's just he can get manhandled at times.
Yes. Um, Over pursues QB, sometimes causing mobile quarterbacks to break away and get loose.
Hmm.
I noticed when I was watching some of his highlights, even when he wasn't getting to the quarterbacks, I noticed he was very similar to the Brian Burns esque
Hmm.
of over pursuit. Of instead of slowing it down or trying to do a late minute rip to get closer in, he just kind of runs past the behind the quarterback sometimes, and it kind of made me worried because I do find that that was part of the problem with Brian Burns was he was fast, but he didn't have that second technique to cut inside after he started the bend.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this is what we complain about with Brian Burns every year, it seems like, right? He
Mm-hmm.
could get around the quarterback, he could cause hurries and pressures and things like that, but getting the quarterback down, you know, more than 9.5 times a season was just not something that he
Mm-hmm.
did, right? So, but again, Brian Burns a very, very disruptive player when he was with us. And if you're telling me that this guy is going to be Brian Burns, I would probably sign up to take him at 8
Oh yeah,
without much of a without much of a concern, right?
yeah. I don't know why I had needs to add more strength up here twice, but again, needs to add a
It's
little bit more.
so concerning. It's so concerning. You added it
Actually, it's
twice.
not that concerning. He is a big dude. I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
The main. This is the one that actually concerns me the most is his character.
Hmm.
His character
Hmm.
concerns overall are just. I've heard he had fights with coaches at Tennessee. Um, I was reading earlier that a former high school player says that he played with him and he has a lots and lots of anger issues and would
Mm.
explode on other people all the time for no reason. That makes me nervous because yes, you're talking about, anger on the field, but especially with the way the NFL is now. I mean, I am not this is this is my worst case scenario is the Greg Hardy situation. I don't want to say that he's going to
Mm.
beat Greg Hardy, but a great player, but it, something mentally just wasn't there. The kid was not is 20 years old. What is he? Something like that. 21 years old.
Yeah.
And that he can obviously grow out of that. He can obviously mature, but that freaks me out. Bringing in someone like that, eighth overall pick, hopefully going to be a linchpin on your team, but he could be a loose cannon, and he could fall apart.
It's a legitimate concern, right? Especially when you've got a coaching staff coming into year two. They're trying to build a culture here. We want to kind of move away from the erratic culture that we've had for the last, since David Tepper took over, essentially. This coaching staff and front office have shown that they're not really willing to put up with stuff like that with
No.
Deontay Johnson. They've traded a couple of guys away that maybe had some issues like that. So, you know, it's hard to say because, like you said, he is young. It's a completely different situation. These kids now they're coming in, they're getting all this NIL money. Like things are just very different in
Mm-hmm.
terms of their experience in college now. So going to the pros and being around, you know, good locker room and with good head coaching could turn it around.
Mm-hmm.
But that to me would be a uh, pretty big red flag, and probably shows why you see him drafted, fringe top five, and then some places have him in the second round,
Yeah.
right? Like that has to be one of the major reasons.
And with him being a Charlotte native, I do think Dan Morgan and them are gonna go reach out. I mean,
Yeah.
anybody that pick, they're gonna need to reach out and make sure that these character concerns are young indiscretions instead of
Mm.
a reoccurring issue. I
I wonder if
saw.
his family, do you know if his family is still around here? Because like drafting a guy like that and he can be home every night or around his family a lot could help curb some of those issues, right?
Oh, definitely. I mean, if he has a good solid foundation family.
Yeah,
I mean, you have a mom or dad, uncle, aunts that put keep you in check, and then you
yeah,
have other ones who, you know, support and bring in that bad behavior, or old
right.
friends that have bad behavior that are
True.
still going to be around. So I mean, it could go both ways. I did see also he was pulled over speeding without a license, and then got into an argument with the officer and stuff like that.
So just immature.
Yeah,
He's got major maturity issues right now.
yeah.
Yeah. But
So
we've seen guys like that come into the league and have success and change their stripes. So
Honey
that's what
Badger,
you hope for this guy. Right, sure.
I
Lots of guys.
like that guy fell to like the third round when he was a first round talent, and then yeah, I mean, I think he's kept his nose clean ever since the NFL, and he's been a really good player.
He hasn't done anything so outrageous that he's been blacklisted from the league or
Mm-mm.
suspended multiple times for character issues, things like that. So James Pearce he's got a lot of positives too. Let's talk about some of his positives here. Uh, as we mentioned he's quick. He's got a good first step. I saw one place said he had a good first, second, and third step off the line. So he's got lots of explosiveness. Again, shows power and speed ability in his pass rush. So I think it's more of maybe it's a conditioning thing, maybe it's a technique thing, but he's got that size and speed. He should be able to learn some of those power moves, right?
That's my opinion. I think
Yeah.
he needs to learn how to do a rip and some power presses. I think that will help him.
Yeah.
I mean, guy's athletically gifted, just point
Sure.
blank.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. He's got a very good football IQ. I saw that multiple places. He just seems to know where to be, like where the right place to be is at all times. Good awareness against the run, doesn't focus solely on the QB. So this is one where I kind of saw he has a really high run grade off of PFF. I did see some other places saying that he may need to develop that run defense in the NFL. Again, compared him to Brian Burns. I see a lot of Brian Burns comparisons with him, not only on his positives, but also on his negatives. So I think that's certainly something to look at. But again, he seems to have a good foundation and then good bend technique. Again, very Brian Burnsy, right? He's
Yeah.
he's he's Gumby out there, can get around wherever he needs. And as we mentioned, Charlotte native, right? So he's from around here. Again, if there are some character issues, then maybe being here near family or near where he grew up could help with that. As you mentioned, could go the opposite direction, but there's a lot to like about James Pearce Jr.
Oh, 100%. I mean, I definitely see him as a first round pick. I don't know
Yeah,
where he falls. Again, I mean, there's so many guys here that could go from, top 10 to late first. And
hmm,
especially in the edge rusher, like they're all kind of combined where they all have positives and they all have negatives. James Pearce has a lot of positive.
yeah,
Freakish athlete, fast, strong. Negatives, character concerns. Need to work on his run a little bit. So it's so
yeah.
difficult.
Yeah, I mean, there's no where we're drafting at 8, you want to get a no doubt guy,
Mm-hmm.
right? But typically, your elite pass rushers, they're going to go in the top 5, right? They're going to go Abdul Carter, right?
Yeah.
They're gonna be those guys that have little to no downside, and then we're looking at guys that have high upside. James Pearce, high upside for sure. Maybe as high as it gets, but his floor could be a little lower than you'd hope. So again, if he's Brian Burns,
Yeah,
If that's what he turns into, it's a great pick at 8.
yeah. Now, you discussed Mikel Williams that we've already
Hmm.
discussed him. Who's very opposite of him. He's very good run
Yeah,
defender, has the athletic ability to become a better pass rusher, but he uses the power rush. I do think Mikel Williams has a higher floor than James Pearce,
I think so.
but I also think that maybe James Pearce has a higher ceiling.
I agree with both of those. This is a tough one when trying to kind of
Mm-hmm.
figure out our big board here. I would lean towards having Pierce ahead just because of that ceiling. But Michael Williams coming in again, he solves some problems for us, or at least he
Immediately.
helps. He helps, move us towards that direction. Um, so yeah, I think for me, I would have Pierce slightly ahead, but it's really a 1A, 1B type of thing.
Yeah, I think this. I agree with you 100%. I lean a little bit more Pierce. The character concerns really worry me in the sense
Yeah.
that if Dan Morgan's scouting team says, "Hey, the coaches and stuff, everybody, other players I've heard don't like him,"
Mm,
I easily flip flop,
yeah.
easily, because I think Mikel Williams, like I said, is going to be a good pro. He may not
Sure.
be
He's
the
got the talent.
Pro Bowl perennial Pro Bowler, but I do believe he's going to be a starter for a long time in this league.
Yeah, and on some teams, a character issue may not be that big of a deal, right? But I feel like specifically for the Panthers, where you are trying to build something, you really want guys in, and they've talked about it, right? They want guys in who love football and who do the things the right way, right? That's what they want to build this team around, and that's what Jerry Richardson, that's kind of what he always wanted to build the team around, especially when it came to the defense, right? So,
And with that
yeah,
too, we don't have any like strong leadership on the defense.
right,
I mean, I
yeah,
guess
especially with Shaq gone now.
yeah,
There's just
J.C. Horn, Jatavion Clowney. I mean, I'm looking at the actual veterans, even though
Yeah, I mean
Clowney's
maybe
only been here
Derek
one
Brown.
year. Yeah,
Yeah. You're a very young team, and you're trying to establish those things right now. So, and I don't know enough about his character concerns to know if is it something where some teams are putting it out there to try and make him drop. We see that all the time. Is it maybe overblown? Um, Kids get speeding tickets all the time. I mean, I've gotten double digit speeding tickets in my life. Like, and I don't think I'm a bad character person, but
I wouldn't
uh,
say that.
yeah, but I said I don't think I'm a bad character person.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but so yeah, who knows? Who knows? There could be more. I didn't look too deep into the character stuff. Maybe I should. But yeah, I would have him slightly ahead of Mikael Williams. But again, if they drafted either one, I think I'd be really optimistic.
Yeah, I mean, we're only two profiles in, and spoiler, we're
Sure.
doing Jalen Walker next. And honestly, dropping back or trading back seems like a very very logical
Yeah.
and great idea for the Panthers this year.
Yeah, there will be some guys we talk about later on in this process that maybe are less realistic to fall to 8, but if they happen to, then you have to take them, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I agree. I think trading back, especially we don't have a second round pick until much later in the second round, trade back a handful of spots, 10 spots, whatever the case is, pick up an early second rounder or maybe even a first next year and just continue to build the team. But I agree. I'd much rather trade back and take James Pearce at 14, right?
Oh
And then
yeah,
pick up something else in the second round, um, than take him at 8 and really be concerned.
same.
Yeah. So,
So right now our big board is going to be Pierce 1 and Mikael Williams 2. With that
yep.
being said, obviously character whatever the Dan Morgan's team does, I think is going to be the right choice on this because there's just so many like things us as fan podcasters. We can research and stuff. We don't have the army of scouts and
Exactly.
talent, not talent evaluators, but like character evaluators as they do.
Yeah, they're going to be talking to everybody.
Yeah,
His fans, family, coaches, teammates, like you said. They'll be looking at police reports. They'll be doing all these things that we don't have the time nor the resources to do. So, if they did draft him at 8, then that would tell me that they have no concerns about his character,
me too.
right? Yep.
100%. All right. I think
All
that's
right.
going to do it. Like I said, we'll be touching on Jalen Walker next. If you want to go ahead and take it away.
Okay. Well, go ahead and take it away, Jerry.
Oh, sorry. Thank you for listening. If you like the show, please let your friends know. Please follow us on Twitter at MeowMixPodcast. If you have any questions or comments, you can email us at mailbag@meowmixpodcast.com. And if you leave us a 5-star review with a comment on Apple Podcasts, we'll read it on the show.
As Jerry said, we'll be back very soon with our next draft profile. And until then, everybody stay safe out there and keep pounding.